Welcome back to the Flip Side. Well, now we are pleased to have with us the director of the Washington County Museum of Fine Arts, Rebecca Massie Lane. And in my title here, I call the museum a gem in the Washington County arts community, which I think anyone that's been to the museum would agree with that. Yes. I'm going to let Ron kick off with the first question. Ron, go ahead.
Over the years, the Washington County Museum of Fine Arts has been an institution in itself, but it always wasn't just that way. You've come in at a time where the museum has been added to dramatically, with new gardens, with new walls glassed in, with several new things happening. What is the most exciting part, since you've been the executive director, of the museum, and what you're trying to emphasize now for more attention?
Oh my goodness. Well, I would say that when I first arrived at the Fine Arts Museum, of course I was, as many people are, just astounded at what an amazing art collection we have here in Hagerstown, and asked myself, how did this get here? Because it's such a tiny town. And of course learned the story of the singer's great gift to the community and the agreement with the county and the city and the early trustees to make this thing a go. And but I was always amazed as people told me that so many people had never come inside the doors, even though we've been free since the day one. So my idea was
free now, no cost.
Free admission.
Yeah.
Free admission. Instead of facing in this way, we need to face out this way, and reach out in the community and bring people in and make them feel welcome and, you know, help experience the transformative power of art, which is what we're in the business of doing.
So let's go back to the singers for a minute. They were from Pittsburgh, is that true?
No, well, Mr. Singer was the son of a steel magnate.
Oh,
yes,
okay.
and they lived there with the Carnegies and the Fricks, you know, in the fancy part of town, and ran a very successful steel business. And Mrs. Singer was Anna Brew Singer and was raised in Hagerstown, and she grew up across from City Park on Dunirvin Circle. So when she was a child, she would have looked out of her front window or her front porch. Yeah. She would have seen the Hetzer House, which is now the Mansion House where the Valley Art Association holds forth beautiful work. She would have seen a farm, and she would have seen swampy land. There was no city park. It was agrarian, you know, it was close to town. I'm sure she could have walked into the downtown part of Hagerstown. But during her lifetime, after she married Mr. Singer, she discovered the amazing world of art, which she said she did not have a chance to experience as a child. She had certainly a beautiful library here in town and great educational schools and a wonderful community of people that were kind and you know, very neighborly and interested in the larger world. But through her husband, whose great desire in life had been to be an artist, she encountered visual art, and then she herself was trained as a pianist, so she loved music and theater. She loved every aspect of art. And they then became, after they married, this is a great story. The parents had 4 children, the Singer family, and none of the children wanted to go into the steel industry. So they decided, well, I guess we'll sell out to our neighbors, the Carnegies. And they had a family dinner at the Plaza Hotel in New York City, and each child got a check for $4 million. And this would have been in the early 20th century. I have no idea what the worth of that would be now, but a lot. And Anna and William Singer decided they would go live in Europe. So they landed first in Paris and got interested in art collecting even very early. They started collecting French Barbizon and later Dutch painting. Anyway, they gathered all this art. He painted, she played the piano. They developed wonderful community in Europe where they lived. Came back occasionally to visit, but I think her friends here, once City Park got developed, were looking to, let's have what every big city has, a beautiful park with a fabulous museum. So they started encouraging it.
And what year was that?
Who knows when the lobbying began, but the first conversations were in 1928.
Wow.
And believe it or not, the agreement to found the museum was signed in August of 1929, which was 3 months before the crash. And the community said, And then they said, we're still going to do this thing. And they did.
Well, I'm glad that you brought up children
Yes.
in the arts. I have a story myself. When I was in leadership Washington County, we were touring the museum, and there was a special exhibit for the works of children in our public school system. And I happened to see a picture that my son had done.
Oh.
And I had no idea it was there, and it was such a pleasant surprise. So I really enjoy how you fluctuate or have different exhibits in the museum in and out. And what are you currently exhibiting now?
Well, the grown-up version of your son.
Okay.
We have on view the Cumberland Valley Artists and Photographers exhibition, which just opened last week, actually. And it's about, let me think, I would say about 120 total works of art. Maybe not that many, 88 maybe, I can't remember the exact number, but from Maryland, West Virginia, Pennsylvania, Virginia, DC, and then a couple of other states. Very wide media, great diversity, and really 2 fabulous exhibitions.
Wonderful.
Yeah, and we still do that fabulous show for children. The museum did 2 really great things right after they opened their doors in 1931. One, they established this annual juried art exhibition, which has gone on uninterrupted since the doors opened. Then they did a second one for photography, because back then, photography was not seen as a fine art in those early 20th century days. And so the museum was really very forward thinking in saying, yes, it is, and we're going to include it. And the other thing they did is they developed this fabulous relationship with Washington County Public Schools, and that included the great annual children's art exhibition. And
Are you still doing classes for children as well?
we still have the free Saturday classes that also started very early in our history, and they're just, sign up and it's sort of first come, first serve. We do ask the families or the guardians and the children themselves to make a commitment that they will come faithfully. It's an 8-week program, and we're, as a result of that, saying we want you to pledge that you will come faithfully. Our attendance is about 92% right now, so
And
we're
that's
very pleased with that.
And how many students go through that in an average class?
We are keeping the enrollment to 25 per session.
And are they usually full?
Oh yes, and we often have waiting lists.
Wow.
And those classes are now funded by the Mary Bowman Historical Trust and Arts Trust. And it's become a kind of thing with them because it brings a great deal of life and very important creative outlet into these children's lives. And by making that sort of commitment to make, I will do this for 8 weeks, they actually do portfolio development even though they're elementary school children. And we found out from Teresa Roberts at Barbara Ingram School that a lot of this visual arts students at Barbara Ingram actually took our classes when they were little bitty children.
Okay, now take what Danielle said about her son. Her son started there early. Where can her son now be seen at the museum? What is the venue that allows different schools to have winners of different projects? How is that all handled now?
It's still with the annual shows, but we now do a K through 5, and then we do a middle school and high school show. So they have separate shows. And then we also give awards, and let me get this right, the Rotary Club of Long Meadows has been one of our partners in that, in that exhibition, as has the Washington County Arts Council and Volvo, and even Antietam has also cable. So we've had these great partners that have helped us.
And where's that held now that you never had to hold it before? In the
atrium. Oh yes, that's what you were leading to in your first question.
Yes.
The atrium has been a fabulous addition to the museum. It's given us a community gathering spot, a place to have food and drink and not have to worry about sloshing your food and drink on works of art.
And the night that it opened, there was a horrendous storm with lightning and rain.
Oh, that's right. You're right. I
And,
remember that now.
Everyone was wondering, is it going to leak? Is the lights going to go out?
And it was
everything was
and all
fine.
was well.
One of the things that I had heard about as the arts and entertainment came into being in downtown was the unfortunate separation between the museum and the downtown arts district.
Right.
There were many, and I will count myself among them, that wondered of the wisdom of putting this arts pathway in between the downtown. But I got to tell you, I think the results have far exceeded my expectations. have you seen? Do you see that as a connection point?
Absolutely.
And how have you seen any demonstrative results as a part of that?
Certainly, after it first opened last summer, we were definitely getting traffic through the museum. People were real excited to walk the cultural trail. Sure. And I'm so hopeful that the second piece of it will get completed, that will take us all the way to the A&E district and to the Maryland Theater and to the Arts Council and the school and the Maryland Symphony. Because it does seem odd that the museum is not, the art museum, the Fine Arts Museum, which is one of the oldest of the arts institutions, is not in the Arts and Entertainment District.
Right, and
I guess it was geography.
It was, but arguably among the most prestigious of the
right. You had asked about tours, who comes. More than 20% of our visitors are from out of the area. They're considered tourists. They're beyond that 50-mile radius, and we track them by zip codes. And we are nationally accredited, and we're working so hard not to be a well-kept secret, which has been a real, challenge for us.
But you do have a chance, Jim, when the Maryland Theater becomes a performing arts center.
That's right.
That'll become a performing arts center. There is no reason, with the trail being there, with the way there will be a new, the grounds and the parking lot will be grass, and there will be different things behind all of those buildings. It won't be the way it is now. There'll be no reason that it can't extend the Arts and Entertainment District,
right,
with the performing arts being an anchor there and the museum being an anchor in City Park. It can all be a performing
Well, that
arts
certainly is my
culture
dream.
trail.
I hope it'll happen.
Well, that's things for people to keep talking about, and it can happen.
And Ron, you're going to get the last word on that. Coming up, another guest from our arts community, the executive director of the Potomac Playmakers. We hope you'll stay around for that. We'll be back in 3 minutes.